Hi everyone, we are live, the sixth Aspie Youtube Collab it is. Right over here. This is great. Thank you very much everyone for being here. Today we have a new face. So Malachi, could you introduce yourself and your channel?
Hi, my name is M Animations,
All right,
and I like to draw, make animations, and do gaming.
very nice. I will definitely be putting your link in the description. Um, So today, everyone, we're going to be talking about workforce experience, and there's an extra YouTuber doing this. Quigley is here. Well, she's not here, but like I'll be pulling up her answers. She pre-recorded her answers for me, which was very nice. But I guess we're going to start off with Alan here. So let me pull up these questions.
Yeah, hi guys.
Hello.
All right, so Alan,
Alright.
have you gotten a job before or tried to get one? If so, what was the process like?
Yeah, it was a tedious process. I tried to get a job before and quite a few times and was unsuccessful. I mean, I've had a couple of jobs temporarily, but they didn't last long. Yeah. I was in one job. Let's see if I remember rightly. I was like a sales assistant sort of thing on the telephones and trying to get people to buy Zenith windows and quotes for Zenith windows and stuff like that. That didn't last because I got sacked from that, and then when I went back to it, I just got too stressed out from it because I wasn't getting anywhere with it and walked away from it the second time, and then I was then got a position in the pub and that, being the potman.
All right. Is that like the bartender?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And the real reason these people got rid of me was for me being gay, basically, and used excuses like that I was up on stage singing when I should have been collecting pots, being the potman and that, which I did do, what doesn't help me was that I was on stage and taking part in some singing because England had won against Argentina and I was celebrating that.
Right, yeah, just
and yeah, so I was being penalised for celebrating. I shouldn't have done it whilst I was on duty, of course, and terrible. And they felt I had terrible singing, and just gave me a sack. And yeah.
I gotcha. Well, I'm certainly sorry that you've had poor experiences.
Yeah.
All right.
So ever since then, I didn't bother trying to get a job. Yeah.
Yeah. I hope your future.
I'm a voluntary job now, and that suits me fine.
Yeah, definitely. Whatever works, man.
Yeah.
All right. So what about you, April? April, can you hear me?
Oh, hi. Yeah.
Hi.
Are you saying what has the job been like? The job field?
Like what is?
Well,
like,
to tell you the truth, before
have you gotten a job before,
Yeah.
and what's the experience been like?
Yeah. Hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, in my life I've gotten lots of jobs and I've lost a lot of jobs, and I've had a really hard time keeping them. But I have if maybe I'm not sure why, but I thought maybe it was because of the ADHD, but it could be the two working together. That it's very hard for me to keep a job because I feel like I have to leave I've been here too long or whatever, which is weird because just recently I've had many jobs, like small jobs, and I got fired a lot when I was younger, and then now that I'm older, I don't get fired, but I have a hard time settling. Well, I haven't got fired yet, I guess, in my older years.
That's very good.
But I am going to school, so that could be why.
Okay, yeah. So you're saying back in your younger days, you had a hard time keeping a job, but now you're having a hard time getting one. Is that
No,
what
I'm having a hard time staying still.
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
so like I have a really hard time just like I need a break. Like I don't know, like I have a really hard time with jobs. So yeah. I just have a
Well,
hard
yeah,
time with jobs.
I absolutely understand that. It's important to have a break.
Yeah.
So let's pull up what Quigley has to say here. Share sound and optimize.
So I have had a job before. In fact, I am currently at work right now. And I find that the process for getting a job, it can be a little tricky if you're trying to do it just by online, because personally I've had a lot of jobs and a lot of the time I haven't necessarily stayed at each one for a long time. So that doesn't really look good on a resume, but I find that if you just go into the place and speak to whoever is the hiring person in person when you hand in your resume, that things usually go a lot smoother. You can like give a good first impression of yourself, and then the resume is more of an afterthought as opposed to what their first impression of you is. So
Okay, thank you for that. And yeah, I certainly get what you said about the short jobs not looking very good on a resume. Because I've only had some that have lasted a couple months only. And that certainly doesn't look good if you pair that up. So what has your experience been, Malachi?
I've never had a job. I'm still a kid.
Oh, okay. Have you ever applied to one before?
No,
No, okay. What about volunteer work?
no, I never done that either.
Oh, you haven't. Okay. All right. Well, what is something you're going to look for when
I'm probably gonna look for animating and then YouTubing, so that way I can get some money. Like find some type of animating job. And
yeah, well, basically, what are you going to look for in the hiring process, and like what an employer sees in you?
what do you mean? What do you mean?
Like, just what do you hope to experience when you're going through the interviews and all
I'm expecting a lot. Like like something interesting, something that really interests me. Interests me.
100%, yeah. All right, and like, what do you want your boss to see that makes you qualified?
My talents, my
For
gifts.
sure. Yeah. Are you concerned that they may look at the social aspect of things at all?
No, I don't think so. I think they might accept me for who I am.
Yeah, I
Because-
definitely hope so as well.
Because I have a lot of sense of humor,
For
and
sure.
I have lots of good things to share off.
I absolutely agree, and I definitely hope that by the time you come into the picture, all of the bias will be gone, hopefully. And there's probably going to be a couple of years until then, right?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, I definitely hope everything goes smoothly for you. Let's see if Kevin can come in here. It says he's connecting to audio. While we're waiting, we can move on to the second question for Ellen. Or actually, I can answer my own question. So my process with getting it, like my experience with getting a job, has been that I can get a job really easily. Like I can move through the interview process and all that. But when I try to keep one, that's when it becomes a problem. The reason for that is because I can only kind of fake the condition for so long, and like I can fake being social person for so long, and I can do that like through the hiring process. But once the hiring process is come and gone, and I start getting into like what I have to do, then I run into some problems right there. So that's been my experience.
I relate with that, Alex.
Yeah. So Ellen, the second question here is, oh shoot, I lost it. Hold on. No, I found it. Don't worry. So, how did your coworkers and your boss treat you, and what could they have done better with treating you?
Well, I was at the time already diagnosed with a learning disability when I had been with my bosses and that, and they could have treated me a bit more respectful, really. And you know, and one of them treated me disrespectfully for being gay and that, and you know, it's not nice, you know. What I can suggest, all I can advise is anyone that tries to chat up the bosses, well, my son or daughter, just don't go there, you know. Yeah.
I gotcha. Yeah.
Especially if you want to keep your job and that, you know. So
Now, did they treat you like almost better with the learning disability than with your sexuality preference?
both the sexuality and learning disability, they didn't treat me well with, you know.
Oh,
No.
I see.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I'm very sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Now,
okay.
yeah. Now, what could they have done better with treating you?
Well, they could have been more aware of learning disabilities and respectful to it, you know, than just respectful to it.
100%, buddy. Well, I certainly hope whatever future job you come across, you'll be given that respect.
Yeah.
So, how about you, April? How did your coworkers treat you and your boss, and what could they have done better at?
Well, Alan, I was thinking something also is the fact that your next box could actually be kind of nice. You know what I mean? Let them be fun. Nobody loosens up anymore. They're all so tense. Because you're having fun and singing and they're just like downers. Anyways.
Yeah.
With my job, well, the people that I work with, you know, the first year I had a really hard time because I had to remember a lot of things and I'm around a lot of people. And also where I work, it's very busy. And because of everything that was happening, I went to my boss and said, can I take 2 other positions? And one of them was an independent position where I don't have to deal with people. And that was very helpful to break up all the things that I have to do. But I mean, for the first year, it was really hard for the first year and a half. And I had to remember a lot of things. And people are very fast paced and don't have patience. So it was hard. I got what is that? I got my boss liked me, so that was helpful. She did like me a lot because I always say on my resume and in interviews, I'm not a fast learner, but I'm a determined learner. And once I remember and I know all my steps, I will be one of your best workers. But before that, I have to work really hard.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure everyone can appreciate your willingness to learn, and really, I think everybody should appreciate it. Like no matter how fast, like it's not about how fast you are; it's about how willing you are. That's what I always say. Because not everybody can be fast, but everybody can like show heart and all that. And show the desire for that.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, let's see what Quigley has to say here. Let me pull it. Let me share the screen again. Is it cold there, Alan?
Huh? No, no cold, not cold. No,
Oh,
I just
okay.
yawned a bit. Yeah.
All right, for sure.
Excuse me, yeah.
As far as like how my coworkers and employers treated me, I don't think that I was ever treated differently ever because I'm autistic. Mostly just because nobody knew. I didn't even know until this year. And at this job I'm at currently, my employer does not know I'm autistic. I didn't tell him. I just figured that it might have been like a barrier to getting hired in the first place, so I didn't mention it. I probably will eventually. I've only been here for a couple months now, so I'm just trying to get comfortable before I decide to mention it. But I mean, everybody has generally treated me well. I've never had any like issues outside of just, I think if anything, I get treated differently for being a young woman, but not necessarily for being autistic, probably just because nobody knows. As far
Okay. Well, that's certainly very fair. And that is a good point. I can definitely see the concern there that would be a boundary. I'm very fortunate that it hasn't been for me. But I'm certainly glad the coworkers treat her right, even though that they don't know, and knowing could have some effect, I suppose. So thank you to Quigley.
Is that Alex? You were
yeah.
open with your boss, right?
I am, and I'm gonna get into that later.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. So Malachi, if you're still there, what do you think? Like, what expectations do you have for how your boss and your coworkers are going to treat you?
I think they're gonna treat me like a reasonable person.
Okay. And how are you going to hold them up to that expectation?
Well, I would have a conversation with them
Okay.
and
And
make sure they treat me right.
And what would you discuss there?
I would tell them that if you want me to work for you, you have to treat me with respect because I can't tolerate rudeness from you.
Right, exactly. Yeah. All right, thank you, Malachi. I can go with this. So my coworkers and my boss have not treated me very right, pretty much at any job. I think that again has something to do with the fact that I can only hide like my neurodiversity for so long, and I think that the more I kind of act being not neurodivergent in the interview and all that, the more that it starts to come out when I actually have my job, and the more people have a tough time with treating me right, I guess. So I've developed a new strategy, which was just say it up front, and we're gonna get into that in the next question. But yeah, it definitely has made things a little bit easier. But other than that, yeah, they have a lot to learn with how to treat people, I guess. Definitely. All right. So we can move on to the final question here. This is a bit of a quicker collab. So question goes to Alan.
Yep.
Do you explain in your interviews that you have Asperger's, and do you think that affects the results of getting and keeping a job?
Well, I didn't explain that I had Asperger's because I did not know that fact until in the early 2000s.
Okay.
But I certainly mentioned, well, I don't think I even mentioned I had a learning disability. I was accepted even without having to say, yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Now, if you did, like, just a hypothetical, if you did know back then, and if you decided to tell them, what do you think would happen?
I don't know. I probably might not have been accepted. I don't know.
Is Is that how it tends to be with interviews? Do they tend to have trouble accepting that in England?
I don't know. They might have some trouble accepting it in England. Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I'm certainly sorry to hear that. All right, April, go ahead for the final question.
Oh, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, certainly. So do you explain in the interviews that you have Asperger's, and do you think that affects the results of getting and keeping a job?
Well, that's a tricky one. I mean, yeah, I do. I do think that it would affect if I had told them at the beginning that I had Asperger's. But like I told you, like I was in Children's Aid Society and they knew that I had it, but I didn't know that I had it. Anyways,
Okay.
so yeah, like recently I got diagnosed, but then while I was getting diagnosed, I found out that I was already diagnosed. So that was kind of messed up. And so sometimes I wonder, how did they know that I was autistic? That's what I want to know. How did they know I was autistic? I wish I could find out how. Anyways, I want to take the autistic studies, the 1-year autistic studies at my school. But
okay.
I think that sometimes they're critical of people who have disabilities. And when people hear, autism, I think that I've heard enough stories where I am a skeptic of saying I have Asperger's. Yeah, like because like if you had like someone like your boss, that would be nice. If we could all just have your boss, Alex.
I agree with that.
Oh, and plus Alex too, the first year, they were screaming and stuff, all this screaming, and they were all in my face. And then I blew up and I didn't know why I blew up. And then I kept on going into fits where I had to go away. And I was like, could literally not contain myself. And I was like, what is wrong with me?
Right.
Like, what is this? Why am I falling apart? How come I can't hold it together?
Yeah, I'm sure that was definitely concerning.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that. Yeah. I definitely hope that the bosses can be more comfortable if you ever do have future jobs and you ever do come out about that. I hope they can be more comfortable. All right, let's
well, when you told your boss, what did she say? She was nice about it, wasn't she?
Yeah, she just nodded her head and she said okay. And then I just got the job. So I mean, it definitely worked out very well for me.
That's good.
Yeah, it is.
Is it still going well?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in my last week before I go back to school, so
See what I mean? That's the break that I'm talking about, where you get the break from the job to school.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what I find I do. I find that I won't quit, but like I need to take a break.
Oh yeah, well yeah, everyone does, especially if you're doing my job and making sure 10 little kids are being healthy and having fun and not getting into fights. It's difficult. Especially because with Asperger's we have that attention disability. So that can be very tough when like we're wanting to make sure that the kids are being put in order and all that.
Yes.
But all right, let's see what Quigley has to say for this question.
So in the interview process, I definitely do not mention that I'm autistic. I feel like a lot of people have preconceived notions about what autism is and how it looks that don't apply to me, and I don't want that to sort of get in the way of somebody getting to know me as a potential employee and as a person and building a rapport. I feel like especially if you're applying to a place that has a lot of other people applying, you may just sort of get looked over and pushed aside because your employer thinks like, okay, well, they have Asperger's or they have autism, so there's going to be extra things that I need to do for them, even though that may not necessarily be true. they might think that in their head and just think that it would be easier to hire a neurotypical person if there's other applicants. So I definitely avoided it for that reason, but I think it's good to tell them after to sort of like subvert the stereotype once they get to know you. So
That's a very interesting point by Quigley there. I think that's a good point because the idea of autism still is very stereotyped today, and like when you break that stereotype, that can be very concerning for an employer, I can imagine. So Malachi, for you, your strategy, are you going to tell your employer about autism before you get hired? And I guess kind of like walk me through your strategy of how open you're going to be and why.
Well, I would tell them, but I just want to make sure to see how they take it.
Okay.
But before I do, I have to check their body language and their facial expressions because I don't know whether they're probably going to say no to me or yes.
Right. Yeah, I just the thing about that is some like a lot of people on the spectrum do struggle with reading like face emotions and voice regulations. Do you have a problem with that, and how would you like overcome that in that situation?
I don't have problems reading facial expressions.
Okay. All right, very interesting. What advice do you have for people who are basically like a bit nervous in order to like they're a bit nervous when they admit that they have this condition to employers? What would you say to them?
I would say that you have confidence, you want to put your head up, and then do the best that you can. And if you mess up, it's okay. You can still try again. You may have other chances.
Yeah, it is definitely okay if you mess up. Just gotta try your best with that. I absolutely agree there. So for me, the last couple of jobs I have had a new strategy, which would be like saying upfront that I have this condition. And really, I think it had an opposite effect on me than all of you, really. And I actually did get hired because of it, and I've had a pretty average workforce experience for the past couple of jobs that I have mentioned this. But yeah, I really do think it's a big part of being more comfortable with owning your identity and owning your challenges and owning your strength as well, because there's a lot of positives that come from this, and I think we need to embrace that in our jobs. So that's my final message right there. Everybody, thank you very much for coming on. Please like, subscribe, and share if you found this helpful. And we're going to see you in late September for the next episode. Have a good day, guys.
Yeah, you too.
Have a good day. Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.